made all the possible mistakes that first-time founders make, trying to automate this process as much as we can.
A founder of marketplace need to think about features.
The main challenge at the very start was just lack of knowledge in certain points. We started building this spaceship. We thought that everyone needed scale to all of the countries and all of the legal service areas straight away, which is not the case. Make mistakes fast and move on.
Hi, and welcome back to The Marketplacer, a channel about how to start and grow a marketplace into a successful project. I'm Igor, and I will tell you everything about marketplace. Today, we are having an interview with a marketplace of lawyers, legal nodes. Here with me, Nestor and Margot. To start our conversation, can you tell a couple of words about your marketplace?
Yeah, of course. So we are basically building a legal platform that matches businesses with the most suitable lawyers in different countries and helps them to seamlessly close and deal with all the legal questions that appear in their journey.
When did you get this idea?
I think it was approximately like year and a half or like around 2 years ago. Right?
I think 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years ago. We were both working in a law firm, and at a certain point in time, we started getting into this problem that instead of supporting businesses, we would just be matching them with legal partners in other jurisdictions or in other expert areas. And so we felt that that was unnecessary, and we kind of can streamline this process, automate it, and that's how the idea was essentially born out in the first place.
The most of our clients were international companies, so usually they had different legal questions in different countries simultaneously. So we discovered that we were something like legal managers or legal assistants for them, and but not the lawyers, and did not any legal work. So decided to try to find some solution which we will be able to use as a helper for us for finding our legal partners in different countries. However, we didn't find any solutions that fit for us, so we decided to try to build something ourselves.
Yeah, create one.
Yeah, if you want to predict the future, just create it. So, okay, you got this idea, and what were your first steps? How did you try to test it first?
So I think we made all the possible mistakes that first-time founders make. We didn't start with testing. That's like, now we know that you need to do this, the lean startup approach, and that you just need an MVP, which doesn't even need to be built like using code. And that's how you test the idea. And that's what we do now with our like iteration cycles. But at the start, we like made every possible mistake. We started building this spaceship we thought that everyone needed, because in our heads it was like super great, super cool idea. We wanted to automate everything straight away. So yeah, so that's what we did. We didn't start like with the interviews. We started building the product, and we spent like quite a few months building the product, and then figuring out that it's not really solving the problem, and that we build the what is called like solution in search of a problem. So that's when we completely like changed the tactics, and that's when we started like interviewing the users, interviewing the companies. We first focused on startups, and we're conducting a lot of interviews on how they deal with the problems, how they deal with the legal questions, and what kind of legal questions they even have. And that's when our idea and our platform completely changed, and everything we developed before was no longer needed. So.
And how do you feel about that? You spent a lot of time and energy to create that spaceship.
Well, yeah, we spent like actual money on it as well. The one we kind of had for the startup. To be honest, I don't think that I feel anything about this right now. It's just a process. It's a journey. I think that I was kind of maybe sad at that point, but when the time passes, it heals everything. So now I'm fine. It's just a lesson.
Yeah, such lessons make you stronger. We discovered for ourselves a lot of useful tips which we should use when building any product or testing hypothesis. You can hear and read a lot of articles, a lot of videos, and hear a lot about these lessons, these mistakes, etc. But you need to
try
to make these mistakes yourself. And only after that you will understand what was wrong and what you need to change.
Yeah, I think there is no easy way. Like, you need to go through the way of like making potential mistakes. Many people told us that like you shouldn't build a platform. You should just do an MVP. You don't need to do all of this. And like people told us all of those kind of things. But like the realization comes after like a year and a half, after you actually make a mistake, I think that's the best lesson.
There is also one specific of our legal industry. A lot of lawyers say that it's not possible to build any platform in this area, in this industry, because
of course they say that.
It's very important to have this client-lawyer relationship, which are super personal. The platform is not like working model for this industry. And that was also one of the points, which was also something like barrier when building the legal marketplace on very early stage.
But I'm happy, guys, that you passed this stage of making mistakes, and I'm sure that you didn't finish. You didn't finish yet, and you still have. Yeah, right. You still have a lot of them on your plate. I believe that you took some experience.
You need to make mistakes fast and move on. So that's what we're now like. We're trying to do it really fast and learn from them fast, and then like apply it to our new ideas.
Yeah. So getting back then, when you started testing and building your spaceship, at least it still was testing. So
as I said, like we started building the spaceship without testing the waters, and so we started building a really like technology driven marketplace, and it was just not solving any problems. So I think that was our main challenge, like getting to the idea that you need to actually first conduct like market research, user interviews, figuring out if the problem you're solving is the actual problem, and then passing to the stage if the solution you're building actually solves the problem or makes it even worse. And I think we were doing the second option at the very start. And it's good that we came to the realization that that was the case. And then we just completely went to the like semi-manual process of matchmaking and learning actually what are the main points of friction in this whole process, so that then you can automate it, but not the other way around. So I think the main challenge at the very start was just lack of knowledge in certain points.
Another challenge, which is also related to our industry, legal is not sexy and people don't like to speak about legal.
It's difficult to sell something that is a problem, something that's not, something that's not super cool, or it's not, something you want to talk about. When we talk to businesses, we're essentially selling a problem. So you need to find a way to sell it. When we speak with lawyers, we are more selling like an opportunity, but still it's a bit difficult.
How many people were in your team back then?
We started our project 2 years ago together with Margaritas.
A team of two.
Yeah, a team of two at the start. And then we found Max, who is our CTO. It was, I think, in 2 months after we decided to build this product. And then Max helped us to find designer and front-end developers. In 3 months after we decided to build the product, we had a team of 5 people. It grew to 9 people now.
Kind of big team. What did you do to get the first customers on your platform?
We started first with the supply side, and we started with the lawyers because that's kind of an important part. You need to have something there for people to actually trust you. So we started with gathering the legal network, and because we were lawyers ourselves, we already had quite a few connections in this industry in different countries. And so we started off first utilizing our own network of connections, and then to scale it, the following like channels worked best. First, like referrals. So other lawyers, they would refer their colleagues to join. And the other one is like direct sales, direct contacts to lawyers. We're still focusing on UK, and there are a lot of public databases of lawyers, so like certified solicitors. Like if we're talking about the UK, you can go through the databases, then you can kind of see if those people are on LinkedIn, and then you can sort of in that way find whom you want to contact, who fits your profile. Reach the stage that you need to have a narrow focus at the start. That's another mistake we've made at the start. We thought that we could scale to all of the countries and all of the legal service areas straight away, which is not the case. So then we kind of learned that, and we focused solely on the services that are relevant for tech companies. And that was one of the things that was impacting the lawyer profiles that we were searching. So we wanted people who would have that IT expertise and who would be like technology driven. And that really helped us to form a very strong community of lawyers who are still with us today on the marketplace.
How does your current supply profile look like?
We're looking for lawyers who are working on freelance or who represent small to medium law firms who have niche expertise in supporting the IT slash tech businesses and startups.
And what changed in your approach, how you reach out to those lawyers?
So we're trying to automate this process as much as we can. And on one side, we already have like some onboarding procedures. So we have first like qualifying factors, whether we should contact the lawyer in the first place. And then we have the onboarding procedure. So we have a set of things that we look for and we ask before we decide whether to onboard a lawyer or not. We strive for quality and we want to make sure that it's not hundreds and thousands of lawyers on the marketplace, but it's like 100, but a good one, those who actually reply, who have like good profile and previous experience relevant to the types of companies that we're working with. So that's what changed. We're trying to make this process a lot more structured. At the same time, we're trying to keep an open mind, and it's not yet like set in stone. So we test different things. But at least we now apply some kind of a structured approach to looking for lawyers, looking for those leads, and also to deciding whether to onboard them or not.
Talking about the other side of chicken and egg problem, how did you take care of customer side?
We build the B2B marketplace, so we connect businesses with the lawyers. And speaking about the business profile, there are companies from tech sphere. These companies usually don't have their own in-house lawyers, so the most of legal tasks are managed by the business owners or their financial officers or operational officers. These people spend approximately from 2 to 3 hours per day for different legal works. Our mission and our idea is to help them with their legal tasks by offering them their remote in-house lawyers on the subscription basis.
At which point you understood that you are going to launch a marketplace?
Well, I think it was when we worked as lawyers. In that time, we imagined it as a marketplace because you need to have a big network of colleagues, a big network of legal partners in case you would like to work with the big clients. Big clients usually have international legal requests, international legal tasks. We decided that it's necessary to have or to build this network. So the marketplace model was the closest one for these necessities.
When we were brainstorming this whole idea of creating a digital law firm, we kind of reached the conclusion that what we are essentially trying to create or mirror is law firms, the big international ones that have offices all over the world. But they're super expensive because they have infrastructure to uphold, they have huge offices, super expensive infrastructure, everything. So we thought that that's what we want to build. We want to build a digital alternative to that. And the only model that would really fit that is a platform model whereby you can connect lawyers and businesses and you can provide infrastructure that upholds it all, because it's not only about matchmaking, it's more about the actual software that allows it to happen.
Do you remember the moment when you earned the first $1?
It was in 6 months. Early 2019, we participated in Accelerator in Berlin. During this program, we understood for ourselves a lot of aspects and points of our marketplace. After the acceleration program, there were the first clients and the first earned dollars.
Can you tell a little bit about what kind of challenges do you have now?
The most usual and popular challenge is still chicken and egg problem. We started from supply side, and I think it was a smart decision because you can start selling something on marketplace only when you have this one. Like in our case, it was our database of lawyers. So we having a database of lawyers, we started sell it. That was a good decision for us, but we understood that we usually need to provide amount of requests for lawyers for having them on our platform, making them interested in our platform. So that's one of the challenge, and it's very important to satisfy the both side.
And I think another challenge is fast product iteration cycles. So we kind of figured just not so long ago that they take too long. They take like months when they should take weeks. And we sit down and we like actually talked about what are the reasons and what we want to achieve. And that really helped us to see that what were the problems and how we can solve them within our like technological team.
Even Airbnb are still early learning, but on a bit different scale. So looking back, what 3 things you would do in a different way, except starting with building the complex platform?
Talk more more with your potential customers, it's necessary also to make step back and decide for yourself the most narrow portrait of your customer. You need to know everything about this customer. His working day, his habits or her habits, budgets which your potential customers spend for solving different problems. Only after that you will be able to create something useful for this customer.
I completely agree on this point. Another thing that I would tell myself is start selling as early as you can. Don't wait for the perfect launch. Don't wait for the perfect product, because I think that's the mistake we made. Like I personally definitely made it. And it's only until recently that I realized that that's the key. And it's okay to start selling. That's the main thing that shows that you're actually providing something of value. Because if you're doing everything for free, that means that you're not providing value potentially. You need to start selling and actually seeing if people are ready to pay for what you're building, like as early as you can, even before you have a product.
One super useful lesson which we learned just recently was that the customer feedback or the customer interview with your potential customers and with the customers which paid you just $1 are completely different.
Yeah.
And you should take into account only the second one. Only the feedback from customers which paid you something, and then provide you with the honest feedback, not just, oh yeah, like it's a good idea, go ahead, try it, and maybe in the future I will use it, but I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, there is a big difference between people who tell you that they like your product and they are happy to use it until the moment you ask them to pay for this product. You will have not so many people who agree actually to pay.
But I think there are two types of different user interviews, right? The first one is you don't even say what you're building. You're just trying to get to the grips on the problem and what are the solutions are out there. That's kind of a user interview at the very start. When you already have a product, it's a different type of user interview. You're trying to see who's your most best fit customer, who's the most desperate one, who would be using your MVP even if it's bad. So I think that's a bit of a different approach. And that's when you already start like looking at whether people are ready to pay for it or not. And if they're ready to pay, that's the customers you should focus on. So that's this whole like revenue first approach, which really helps you to actually narrow down and figure out what you should focus on. So the third tip for me is also focus. Make sure you focus. And that's something we didn't do at the start. And it's really difficult because when you're building a marketplace, you're thinking globally, you're thinking at scale, and you start building at scale and it doesn't work and it's heartbreak. So I think the best tip is just focus on, one industry or certain specific area or geographically, and scale it from there, like step by step. Don't try to reach out to everything. It's really overwhelming and it's easy to lose focus, and just stop believing in your idea.
You're telling so many useful pieces of advice to the audience. Did current situation with virus and the lockdown affect your operations?
It was an interesting journey for us, I would say, because suddenly a lot more lawyers wanted to connect, because for them now was the only way to get customers, and they were a lot more interested in learning about the marketplace and about the different ways legal services can be provided. And so the amount of lawyers that I reached out to and that replied increased dramatically. Another cool factor I've noticed is that suddenly all the barriers just drop, because you're speaking with a person who would have before been in a suit and tie in a room, in an office, all that, serious. And suddenly that person's just sitting in the kitchen, you're sitting in the kitchen, and suddenly you're having a really just, real talk. Not only the volume of calls increase, but also the closing and the lawyer to, onboarding ratio increase. So that was a good one. With businesses, it was a bit different. I think Nestor can cover it a bit more. But in general, there was a point when everyone was kind of in shock and there was nothing happening. Of course, people were not thinking of ordering any legal services because no one knows what's going to happen. But then with time, it was an interesting switch to, okay, now we actually have time for legal. Why not focus on legal and trying to cover this now? And so for us, it then increased sales. So it was an interesting change. But looking forward, I think now everyone learned that online and platforms is the way forward, whatever is the case. So now we actually focus more on building and thinking of how we can build this whole like software for remote legal support, because that's something that's going to underpin our platform.
This new model, someone or something on demand, is super popular in this new reality.
They don't want to make long-term commitments anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you share your monetization model?
We started off with a commission fee, and that's the main, still the main source, I would say, of income that we have. But that's mostly for on-demand tasks. So people have a certain legal project, they come, they order that service, we receive a commission, and usually we don't retain that customer for long. So that's one of the issues that we kind of run into. At the same time, we see that another type of customer that's perfect for us is those who have those kind of recurring legal tasks months over months. And this is something we've been focusing on now to provide a solution for that. And that's how the subscription came into play. And so we are now going to sell those kind of subscriptions for businesses to that in-house legal counsel on demand or as a service that you can essentially engage through the platform. But the beauty of that type of in-house legal counsel is that it has connection to the network of lawyers that we've built. And if that's more, if it works better for business, they can actually delegate that part to the in-house legal counsel too, because that sometimes is a point of friction as well for businesses because of inefficient communication, information asymmetry, and things like that.
What are your top 3 pieces of advice you would like to give to other founders of marketplaces?
I think it's really similar to the tips. So I think the first advice, just conduct as many user interviews as you can at the very start, both with the potential customers and later at the stage with the customers that you already have.
Yeah, the second one is start selling as early as possible. Paid customers can provide you with the honest feedback.
Yeah, and it shows you that you provide value.
Yeah.
So that really is a great motivation, and it is a great factor that shows that you're actually building something of value. Because if you do not receive anything, that means probably you should iterate further or you should try something else.
Yeah, and the third one is a founder of marketplace need to think about features which will help this founder to receive recurring customers, to create for them something which they will be able to buy on the subscription basis.
The main idea is that don't be afraid to engineer your own business model. Don't think that there is just one for marketplaces. It's very, everything is changing so fast. There are so many things, and make sure you choose the model that works best for your industry, for the type of customer you're facing. And make sure that you focus on that, not that, you have a marketplace. It means that you need a certain business model, a certain way of working. Make sure that you follow the customer first.
If you like this video, let me know about that by hitting like button under it and subscribe to my channel.